all the way back, baby.
And if we say book your hotel, you book your hotel. But by Lord, I have soiled myself.
What do you mean by live? Genuine live? Hello, radio!
And now, another episode of The Way We HNC It. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of The Way We HNC It. My name is Bez, I'll be your host. I'm sitting at the Way We HNC It desk. It has been quite the week in the flag football world. Internationally, the World Games have concluded. We have repeat World Games champions in Mexico, and there's a whole lot more to come as we enter a mega month of flag football. I am joined by my dear friend and colleague, Mr. Cammy Wilson. Once again, Cammy, how are we getting on?
Good, mate. How are you?
I'm good.
I've been itching to record for a while now because
Yes.
It's been a minute with me and we've got so much to talk about.
We do have a lot to talk about, and sleep schedules are realigned.
Somewhat.
It's good to be back with a regular rhythm, day-night rhythm. Yes, it was quite the week supporting the gang in Chengdu. We've got a lot to look forward to and a lot to digest. But before we get there, it is also a pretty special weekend for some of our pals a bit further down the road.
Yeah, and some up here as well.
And some up here as well, of course.
Our friends over at Scoff are sending 2 teams down to Coventry to compete in Panther Bowl. Scotland White and Scotland Purple will be going down. I will unfortunately not be playing, but I will eventually get to cash in that bus ticket that got sent up my way from my Coventry Panthers. Looking forward to it. It'll be a good weekend. There will be some fundraising on the day for the Myton Hospice. There will be a bake sale and some raffles, and yeah, it'll be good. They raised a lot of money last year for, I believe it was Birmingham I think it was a children's hospice hospital, and similar to last year, the players voted for a certain specific charity for this to go to, and they've done the same this year. It was voted by the team for a member of the team, but after they all put a nomination in. So yes, bring your wallets. It's going to be cash only, but yeah, plenty of prizes to be won on the day and plenty of baked goods to be. We love a bake sale up here, don't we? We've always loved bake sale.
I mean, there's nothing that gets flag footballers going like a solid bake sale.
Yeah.
So yeah, hit that hard, and yes, if you can and you are able, please be generous with your donations. And yes, we're looking forward to seeing how it goes. Obviously, we'll be just a little bit biased to our dear friends over at Scoff, as Team Scotlanders, obviously, as Cammy's mentioned, send 2 teams down. The first time the adult Scoff teams have been in action, I believe.
First time ever the Scoff teams have been in action, yes. Obviously, we've had our Chieftains contingent, which is no longer a thing. So the birth of the Scotland Scoff adults team has begun.
Yes, and yes, the adults are up and running. Kids went on a trip last year over to Europe, and so hopefully we'll see the kind of the national team, but not the national team, start to regrow as a pathway towards kind of high level flag here in Scotland. Looking forward to that. Looking forward to seeing how they get on, and you're gonna have a good time. I know that. Headed down the road, and we will bring you what we can from the course of the weekend. And
I'll be the sideline reporter for the day. I'm sure we can get some updates out on what's going on.
Sure, we can work that out. Our dear friends down in Coventry. So yeah, if you are at a loose end and you're in the Coventry area, come and say hello to Cammy, and I'm sure he'll give you a chin wag.
Maybe.
Chin wag. High fives are free, so that you can dish them all out. And yes, so looking forward a little bit further. Obviously, we've still got on the agenda before we get to the major event that will end our mega month of Euroflag, but we've still got in the middle FIFA flag finals are creeping up, and we'll bring you all of our usual build-up to the NFFL finals and the YFFL. Too many Fs. YFFL finals later. Yeah, next month. And of course, culminating with the Euro flag over in Paris, kind of in the middle of September. And if National Flag Football and Youth Flag Football League wasn't enough that weekend, don't forget that if you stay up a wee bit later, you'll also get to see the America's Continental Championships live from Panama. So literally, you will be able to watch flag football from probably 9 o'clock in the morning.
9 a.m. is first kickoff.
All the way through to probably at the back of midnight, given the time difference to Panama. And to quote one of the greatest tweets that we've ever sent in a group chat, flag football in a stadium, boys, because it is Panama and you know that they'll be doing it properly. So looking forward to that. And some of the major storylines leading in that we will discuss maybe a little bit later on in the show. So yeah.
We've been doing some background work.
So yeah, yes we have. So yes, Bez has a spreadsheet. So yeah, Cammy, how was your World Games experience?
It's tiring. it was great. It was amazing to see our girls back on the pitch, GB jerseys flying about. The coverage that came out and the build-up as well from the week prior that they were there was absolutely phenomenal. So well done to the media team that went out with them. And the World Games in general was so professionally ran. As close to, like we said this when we done the interview with Grace and Ellie, but like this is as close to the Olympics as you can get without actually being to the Olympics. And it showed. It was phenomenally ran. There was probably, we didn't get all the streams that we wanted to see, but I mean, when you're not playing for a medal, that is kind of...
It's their prerogative, isn't it?
Yeah, but I mean, like, just the sheer volume of content that's came out over the past week has been mind-numbing to a point. Never mind the stuff that we've had to create and share. But yeah, like, I loved it. Flag every minute of every day for 4 days straight.
Brilliant. It was absolutely brilliant, wasn't it? It was absolutely brilliant. And like one of the questions that we've had quite a few times was like, how are you guys screen recording? And that is something that will stay firmly locked down in at HQ. You're definitely not getting that one out of us. But we were like, oh, we'll just, maybe the opening ceremony. It started the opening ceremony. It was like, oh, maybe the opening ceremony, maybe we'll get a shot of them in the background or whatever. And then, yeah, literally like the uniforms, the kind of the track wear, the player layer stuff is like so recognizable.
Yeah.
That front and center behind the flag, GB on the big screen, I was just like, we're so here, we're so ready, and I can't believe I have to wait at this point another week until we actually like chuck a ball around. So, but yeah, it was superb, and obviously once the game's begun, yes, the time difference wrecked quite a few people.
Do you know what? It was actually quite fun. See, doing the Friends of the Show channel and actually getting people interacting with us and doing bits and knowing people that we weren't just, me, you and Andy weren't just 3 psychopaths that were up till stupid o'clock in the morning watching flag football. There was a community of psychopaths.
I mean, we were, but it wasn't just us.
It was really good. So thank you very much to everyone who got involved with that as well. That like made us feel somewhat sane.
Yeah, absolutely. And like, I feel like we made a lot of connections in our community. We kind of expanded our community, expanded friends of the show all over the world, all over Europe. We've got some new pals over in Mexico. We've got some new pals all over Europe. It's just fantastic. And yeah, like just psyched how many people were all over the world up and about. And one of my favorite kind of accounts that we came across and we were interacting with a lot was Just Flag MX. So if you are looking for an extra follow, go give that follow out of Mexico. Some of it is in Spanish, but most of the captions are in English, so you can kind of work it out from there. But yeah, we had a really great time interacting. Yeah,
while it was tiring and while it was difficult, it was fun.
Oh, without a doubt.
See, like not so much I'm not going to say stress, but the excitement of making sure that everyone's up to date, getting the scores out, getting the graphics ready, and everything like that. It was like, I think we kind of looked at this as a bit of a run for Europe and a bit of a test trial after almost a year's break. But
a couple of things, yeah,
a couple of things we want to do better, and that we've been told that we could do better. But overall, great experience.
Yeah, and I think as well, like the Japan game. And we'll go through it day by day in a minute, but the Japan game plan had been watch post, go back to sleep, wake up in the morning, it's Mexico game day, post some highlights, watch the Mexico game. No. Like, I think the game ended just after 3 o'clock. I think I put the next game on at 5 or something because I was like, oh, fuck this. Like, I'm not going back to sleep because I was absolutely buzzing after that game. I was so psyched after that game. So yeah, let's do it. Here we go. It's the Way We HNC It World Games Review. We're going to start with what, looking back on it, I don't feel like I gave it enough credit at the time, but the first morning, like the morning session in Chengdu time, like chaos. USA beat Canada first game, 8-point win. So now everyone's like, Canada, what's going on? What's going on there? And then China 45, Austria 46.
Wild.
To me was like, because that was like the biggest possible. That was the big wild card, right? And we'd spoken to some of the girls, there'd been a GB versus China kind of scrimmage, and it was pretty hush-hush,
It was very
understandably so. But
the Chinese were the unknown going into it, so we didn't really know what to expect. And then coming out to do that, put up that many points against Austria, wild. Absolutely wild.
And it was just one of those things where it was like, how good? But then you're immediately like second guessing yourself because you're like, what does that mean? Like, what does that, in the context of everything, what does that mean? I've got no idea. And then, yeah, like GB come out, good win over Italy. We're buzzing. Like Marta makes that catch that is just like, you only make those when you're having a good day. You know what I mean? Like that tap to herself over the defender. You make those when you're having a good day. Yeah. And then
everything looked solid. Everything looked like for Jess's probably like official IFAF debut.
Yeah.
Phenomenal.
Debut at the highest level, good, played well. All of the kind of those on debut looked spectacular across the tournament. And then we had this like delicious Mexico versus Japan game, which got away from Japan a little bit. 41-24 final to Mexico. And with the hindsight of the rest of the tournament, I think we can look back and say, okay, the way things went for Japan, that's probably fair. But like at the time, I was like, my God, like how good are Mexico? And I watched that game and I was like, Japan don't look like they're terrible. They're just being outplayed by the world number 2. Fine. And then like Austria do this thing where it's 34-48 loss to USA. And you're like, and it's okay. So does that mean that Austria are not playing well, or like China were just amazing? And then
how deep do you read into?
And then like honestly, by the end of the first day, after Canada 48, China 12, I didn't know what to think. I had to like finish. I had to like go away, post all the scores out, post all the graphics out, go away, and then like think about it myself about what I actually thought. Because this is the tournament, right? Like this is the.
Day one's always difficult. We've seen results in the past in day one where teams haven't been settled. So like Austria came over later than.
I think they arrived on Tuesday afternoon and then played on Thursday morning. Like
they came over later. Did they acclimatise well? Obviously, GB's been there a lot longer. A lot of the teams were there a lot longer. Was it a rough start from Austria? USA depleted from last tournament. Like we don't really know where we're looking or what we're pointing at. Are China, this new team that we've never seen before, coming in absolutely battering everyone? Like we have, like day one of these sort of tournaments can always be absolutely wild.
I think as well, like
specifically was
what like really played into it for me as well is like this is the strongest tournament ever assembled. Like this is the strongest field ever assembled. You've got 7 of the top 10 and the host China, who they're going to be ranked probably, they're going to be pretty far down the rankings at the end of this, but like they're not, like they're going to be ranked in the 30s probably, or at high 20s, but they're better than they're better than the teams in the high 20s.
In Latte last year,
I think they'd be alright.
Yeah, they'd be something to think about.
Yeah, and the Asian Games, they're such a big wild card at the Asian Games now because, and again, this is one of the storylines we'll maybe move on to later on, but like if they come top 3, their ranking doesn't matter because they're at the Worlds next year. And if they're at the Worlds next year, then you roll the dice, right? And you just play who you play of the day. So it's where the kind of the world rankings are kind of going to start to not matter as much, other than for like seeding at tournaments. But yeah, it's very, very interesting. And that first day was just phenomenal. Like proper.
It's a one way to start.
This is the big league, Like opening game USA only getting away with it by 8 points at the end, like just unbelievable. Yeah, and then overnight you've got China are 0-2, but like they're still good though.
I mean, yeah, like
Austria at 1-1 in that group set up the Austria-Canada game very nicely. The first day did. That was the game we expected. I think I spoke about that with Andy last week the week before about USA are probably going to win the group. China, we're assuming, are going to finish bottom, but we can't pick between the two in the middle. And that's kind of how it went. That's how it ended up. It's not how we thought we would get there. I wouldn't say that we saw that coming, but just superb. And then obviously Group B only played one game each, so it was a 2 wins and 2 losses kind of group. Yeah. It was just, that Scott, remember when, I can't remember actually what happened on Red Zone to make him say it, but when they cut back to Scott Hansen, he just sat there and just shouted the word football. It was just like that. It was just like, I can't process how I feel other than to just go like, oh, it was class. It was absolutely class. And then you're sitting there being like, we still have 3 days to go of this. I don't know if I can cope.
Yeah, the emotional toil that day one took. I think me, you, and Andy in our little group chat, we're just kind of looking at each other like,
boy, here we go. I think as well, like it happened. I think it happened at Worlds. I'm sure it happened at Worlds and it happened at Euros, but they were in like an easier time zone, obviously. But I vividly remember it must have been like last year, sitting at my desk taking my notes while I was watching the game and definitely working because I'm a great employee.
And you don't book out important meeting rooms to watch football.
Well, I did do that this week. Yeah.
Yeah, I know you did.
like taking my notes and stuff and preparing for any kind of extra stuff that we do, and like watching whatever game it was that GB were playing, and like looking at my watch and seeing my heart rate like in like zone 3 or something. I was like, oh, boy, this is the first game in the groups, like completely at rest. And yeah, it was kind of like that. But once you were awake, that was it.
Well, once the juices get flowing, that's
absolutely. And then of course we move on to
day two,
which I think to that point I would have argued that it was the most dramatic day of flag football, other than the fact that 24 hours later I have said the same about the Saturday.
At that moment in time, it
was certainly an accurate thing for me to be able to say.
Yeah.
But yeah, good God.
Go on, give us a rundown. What we got?
So we start off, we get up at 2 o'clock in the morning.
2 a.m.
We're all super psyched. Great Britain, rematch, Japan. One of the most thrilling games of last year's World Championships. Back again. A year ago, GB had never played a team outside Europe, and now we're talking about a rematch with the world number 3 in the Japanese, and it was just absolutely spectacular. Like that game, the team were controlled, like the cliche of like get your extra points in completely came true. Japan looked good. They did some of their creative stuff that we've come to expect from them, and in the end GB escaped with what felt like a massive win at 26-24, because then you're locked into at least second place in the group. Mexico then run wild against Italy. That was kind of,
I wasn't expecting it to be,
we hadn't seen many blowouts.
No.
And we saw a couple on the second day. 46-7 over Italy. Canada, Austria, the next big one that we've got our eyes on. And I think this is the one I eventually gave up and turned my phone back on to watch. 34-25. Like, it was a 9-point game. And I was like, okay, right, Canada look good. We know we're getting, with the Mexico game to go, we know which way round, what the result means.
Yeah.
And then USA 38, China 12, and that was like also really difficult to, I thought to really take much from, because China looked good against Austria. They put a bit of a fight against Canada, but like this is the world number 1 you're talking about, so you would never have expected China to get anywhere near them, and they didn't.
No.
And then that GB Mexico game, that massive momentum swing just before the half, where there's a touchdown wiped out from a penalty at one end. Mexico march down with 90 seconds to go, score, get the ball, score, and you're like, there was this like unbelievable like 21-point swing basically
inside a 2-minute warning
in the space of like 5 minutes either side of half time. Mexico looked amazing all weekend. Like they just looked good all weekend. And
what I was pleasantly surprised about was Mexico. You think about, like, if I said to you, we're going to play a Mexican style of football, you're thinking 2QB, a lot of sexy stuff over the middle of the field, a lot of running. That was feral. Salazar, like,
They were lights
oh my
out all
God.
weekend. They were like that. They were unbelievable all weekend. Like and they just play with this like hive mind of pace. I don't know how else to put it. Like they're just everywhere.
Yeah,
And like it was the same. There was a couple like it was the same, and we'll talk about it at length, I'm sure. Even in the final, there was world class wide receivers that were, to my eyes, completely open pass breakup. Like it was, that they were fantastic, and I really, it wasn't the result that we were obviously hoping for. You see, the most famous flag football player in the world at quarterback for the baddies. And you want to have a crack at them, right? And throughout that first half, they did. I thought the British team were brilliant. That was brilliant, as all good teams do, and as they did in every single game. They changed gear in the second half. Then they moved away, and for a group that's building, and a group where a third of the team are making their international debut. That's learning. There's not many better teams to learn from, and there's not many people.
Win more from your losses than you do from your wins.
And
the age-old saying.
And there's not many people really that get to play that team. Really, if you think about it, like, yeah, you might be in a tournament and play an international player or two wherever you are in the world, like, but to play the best 12 that the Mexican Federation can put out, learn a lot from that, and come in and take that on 38 days, or whatever, is one more camp back to Euroflag. I'm excited. I'm so excited to do it all over again. I'm excited to do it during the day, but I'm excited to do it all over again. And then, immediately after that, we got the I can't remember what happened after that. Japan beat Italy, finished the group off. Japan third, GB second, Mexico number one, and that set up our nice little bracket for the next day. We're ready to roll. USA, Italy, GB, Austria, Mexico, China, Canada, Japan, and it felt like all hell broke loose on moving day.
Yeah. I covered this one, and it was a tough watch at points, and I don't really know what happened, to be honest. It's like,
so this is Britain, Austria we're talking about.
Yeah. Like, it was, I remember me and Andy were up watching the game, and things started absolutely fine, and it just all went downhill rather quickly, unfortunately. And it happens. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, it's a long weekend, and they've been out there for a long time, and they've already played 2 days of football in a climate that they're not used to. It happens. And you know what? The girls went out and they tried their best, and they played to a standard that they should be proud of.
And they're still the world number 4, right? Like, Austria is still the world number 4.
Yeah, like, it's for the whole, like, and again, what Austria done that day. Like, I don't know what they had in their Weetabix this morning, which is something that you actually said earlier, but they just went.
Like, the whole day felt wild, and most of the drama, not all of it, not completely contained, but like most of the drama was around that Austrian team, because I don't know what happened overnight, like, because there was nothing in the group stage really that showed that they were capable of putting GB to the sword and then being one, and I will talk about it in a minute, but having the USA on the brink was just unbelievable to me. I mean, sometimes the other team just shows up and they're better than you. I know, like, knowing the team and knowing some of the individuals that we do, they're all going to be sitting there being like, we can, we do this, we do this, we do this, we do this.
We absolutely know that they watch that film back and they are thinking of 5 weeks' time.
Oh, without a doubt. And
like, they know what they need to do.
And they want it.
Absolutely.
They want it.
It's not a group that will shy away from anybody.
So, like, they will want that game. They will want the rematch. They'll want it in the Euros. If they see the Austrian team across the field, they will be completely comfortable with that. And like you say, you learn a lot. There's a lot of film out there. There's a lot of very smart, very capable coaches. I have no doubt that Markey and Fraser and the group are dealing with the tape and what needs to change. And I'm excited to see it, because we said beforehand, both you and I, and we said it with Andy, and when Ellie and Grace were on with us, like this defense is so good to watch. Like it's so good to watch. And I am very excited to see version 2, version 3. Like just stack learnings, stack reps, stack time together on the field. So yeah, I know that they were targeting a medal match. I know that they'll be disappointed to have been knocked out in the quarterfinal. As we said, this is the highest level. This is the highest.
This is one of the
ranked
greatest
tournaments
standards
ever seen.
ever. And we should be extremely proud of themselves for how well they've done and how well
Absolutely.
they played.
Absolutely.
And I know they won't be.
I know. Yeah, they'll work on it, and they'll know what they need to change, and they'll go away. And I'm sure it's great to have come back and spent some time with their families and stuff. But I know that when they get back into camp, they'll be locked in. USA took care of Italy relatively comfortably. Mexico took care of China relatively comfortably. We had a little bit of
space
in Canada and Japan with a 5-point win for Canada.
Yeah.
Which I guess was like not shocking in itself. You know, Japan looked.
Anything China done over the weekend was kind of surprising. Like going from their first game to how they finished on the second day to how they then done this is like the diagram's all over the place. Like,
yeah, I mean, for China versus Mexico to be 40-0, that's that. I mean, as you said, that was that defense, and I wonder. You know, I do wonder maybe like with China and that team, the first game. The opening game, like they've known the World Games is coming, and they know that they've had an automatic spot. Like they didn't have to qualify last year. Like they knew they were in for as long as the World Games have been in Chengdu. So you've been building towards this, and obviously the team have been together for the last kind of year or so from other sports, and other spots, and all that kind of stuff. But the team have been together, and everything they have done for the last year as a group has been
focused and targeted
on the first whistle in that match versus Austria. The emotional high point from that is so difficult to recover from. And when you come up against a team that is so like essentially professionalized as the Mexico women's team are, you know, on the downside of such an emotional high, I don't know, does that play into it? I don't know. Like, I mean, obviously we spoke about like Mexico going to win. They are very, very good at flag, arguably the best team in the world. They were spectacular. The defense was pitched a shutout at this level. Superb. But yeah, the curious case of Japan I feel like needs to be investigated a little bit. I just couldn't work out because like whenever I watched them, I wouldn't have said that there was like any glaring.
From what
Like,
I've seen of them,
like
they didn't do much of the Japanese style football that we have come to know and love, that the rest of the world has adopted. Don't get me wrong, there wasn't a huge massive amount of tape that I watched of them, but I don't really recall much trickery or backfield nonsense. Not as much as I've seen in previous years. So I don't know if they're trying to move towards a more traditional style. I don't know if they've seen something against their defense or the other team's defenses that they were playing against. They didn't want to run it, but I don't know.
Yeah, because there was a couple. There was a couple of like, you know, they would do that and they would make yardage, and you know, there was a couple of plays against GB that they like really, you know, they stretched our guys right out and moved the ball around and made good yards on runs. I thought the run game, like the run game that Mexico were using, like they were so selective about when they used it, but they would make 15, 30, 20 yards every time. You know, they almost never only made like, you know, the classic get 7 yards and we're good. They were always chunking it. And so, yeah, I mean, like Canada, I didn't see a lot of their games on the first couple of days, you know, like got past Austria. Okay, cool. That was close. I guess Japan, Austria, Canada, GB, they're all in that kind of group that are just sitting below
little limbo
the
bracket.
top two, kind of in the rankings, and they're kind of in there. So I guess at any time they can all beat each other. Maybe this weekend just wasn't the weekend for Japan, but now I feel like there's real questions heading into the Asian games later on about before this tournament. I think I would have had Japan locked in as like
I'd agree.
You know, it's for the other two medals. Now I don't know. Like China women are going to be there. Like, you know, the Aussies have been looking pretty good. The Kiwis looked pretty good last time. There's just all this stuff going on, and it's probably recency bias. But I'm less put my pension on Japan than I was.
Yeah,
you know,
I'd agree.
I'd agree. But what a weekend for Canada! What a weekend for Canada!
That Canada Mexico in the semi final, wasn't it?
Semi-final, yes, Canada, Mexico.
That was, do you know, it was one of, in my opinion, one of the most entertaining games of the weekend outside of GB. It was one that I was most invested in. But like, it was really funny. The Mexicans play with a certain amount of arrogance and a certain attitude where they'll tackle you and they'll just drop the flags. They don't care. And the Canadians are just too polite to do that. And it was actually quite funny to a point where like when the Mexican defense was on, it was pop pop, throw them up in the air, don't care, see you later. And the Canadians do it, they make sure they return them to you. And it was very polite and it was very nice. Like
Yeah,
towards the end of the game, it actually started taking its toll. Like the mental game started coming out a bit more. The pace that the Mexicans were playing with when it came to, they were in hurry up mode when it didn't need to be in hurry up mode, and it kind of cut Canada off a couple of times. Whereas the Canadians were just very mellow, very bang, 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 methodical with it. I think that could probably be the difference between being in the top two and not being in the top two, is knowing how to get in your opponent's head and knowing when to change it up and if you need to change it up. And yeah, but that was a great game to watch.
yeah, it really was. I mean, the other semi will have been discussed at length on many other podcasts around the world, many other media outlets around the world. And what's annoying is like the score, because it was like, because it was still like, even if Austria had scored, they would have then had to go for two to win it or go for one for a tie. So it wasn't
Yeah.
as like slam dunked as kind of that play and you're in. But like, I don't know what the USA were doing. Like, I don't understand. Like, their final possession, you don't need to score on first down from 15 yards out
No,
and
you
give
do
them
not.
right. And like everything in that game to that point said that Austria were coming back. You're right. You know what I mean? Like everything to that point in the match said, if you leave them a minute and a half on the clock, they will come out swinging. And for it to come down to like a penalty to put them on the goal line and then essentially like a botched pop pass from half a yard out to end it, like I was genuinely speechless.
I'll be quite critical of America here and say that again they play with a certain amount of arrogance, and I think all their emotions, preparations, and momentum went into the final. They were like, "Oh, this is a European team. We'll walk this. We'll go through." Like, look at the World Games last year. Sorry, not the World Games.
The
World
championships.
Championships last year. Like, both teams fairly comfortable route the way at the final, and the finals were both relatively comfortable. And I just think America kind of got caught with their guard there. I didn't think they expected the Austrians to be able to come out and do what they done.
Just like it was just an absolutely fascinating display of flag. Like it really was. I have no schematic brilliance in my head to explain it other than it's rare when you see a team that isn't Mexico, to an extent the Canadians, that go toe to toe with the States and like genuinely believe they can beat them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And Austria were just like, we are here for it. Like we are up for it. Because it's always that thing, like you say, what if we lose? What if we lose to America at flag football? Okay, right?
Yeah. Like,
but what if they lose to us?
It's going in with that
and
quiet mind, just being like, this means nothing if we lose this.
And to be fair to like the American defense, like they put themselves in a position where it was one play on the goal line and you can't beat us.
Yeah.
Right. All the nonsense that's gone on before, this is one untimed down on our goal line. And
mano v mano, like,
and we will just not let you past. We just put like,
and the Americans usually play quite a man-based defense anyway. So from 1 yard out, that falls into their hands quite comfortably.
And they just made that umbrella. They just made that little horseshoe. Like, I don't know what I would have done. My initial reaction was, that is the play. Like of all the things that are in your playbook, the quarterback had one option there. It was going to that person and no one else. None of them. I know why, right? Because it's basically a handoff, right? It's a glorified handoff. But in my initial reaction of just watching that was like, I'm gonna just put my phone down and stare at the ceiling. I was in the living room. I was just like of everything. But I don't know, because then even if they score, there's still a point down, right?
Yeah.
Like there's still a point down, and by God, if they go for two,
you go for two. You do not.
To be fair, at that level, going for two just gives you more space, right? Like, so is it easier to go for two? Like, because there wasn't a lot of going for two, but like You have the extras. Obviously, the blitz was on you much quicker, but like, I don't know. I'm
so
sure they prepared for it. I'm sure they've
my
got all their
thinking-
2-point plays. They've got all their 10-yard plays that they need. But
My thinking of it is I would not give the time to the Americans to mentally prepare for overtime or look at what tactics they're going to need to use. I am going for two. I'm getting the ball spot, and I am going. Like, I know that if I'm the quarterback, I know the play that I run. I know my best 2-point play, and I'm not giving them any time to think about it. I am going. I am getting that ball down, and I am throwing it as quick as I can, so they can get a chance to breathe.
Because that is the thing. Like, the thing about going for one is like, okay, you force overtime, but like,
You really want to give the ball back to the Americans and gamble it? No, you
like,
don't.
do you want Crouch with the ball again? You know, do you know we haven't mentioned her once yet, and we're like 45 minutes into this, but like, she was unbelievable this tournament.
Yeah,
Watching her throw a football
glorious.
has got to just be one of the best things. I can't remember which receiver it was, but there was one clip that I think got shared into about 4 different group chats that I'm in of her basically standing in her own end zone, chucking it, other 5-yard line, tap, walk in. And it was just like, it just looks like it's just
Effortless.
like the level of talent on the field in this event at any given moment was just like
Phenomenal.
the best advert, the absolute best advert. I'm so glad IFAF made the decision they did. I'm so glad they made the decision they did to put these like unbelievable women on the stage, because I don't believe that it would have been as good had it been the men's event.
No,
I don't believe it would be
absolutely
as good.
not.
I don't believe it would be. I don't believe it was been a good show. I don't believe that it would have been as captivating. I don't believe it would have been as close. I don't believe every game I watched I was into, and I know that I am a flag nerd, right? Like, I know that I live for this, but I feel like I could get anyone into it if this is what we're going to put out there to show people. And I mean that in every single game of this tournament, even the 40-0, right? If this is what we're going to show people and say this is flag football, fine. sign me right up. If we can just do this every single year, I am so here for it. And then, yeah, of course, that led us into Sunday, where we had a whole bunch of kind of crazy games. Italy got their the Saturday afternoon. GB and Italy had their rematch.
Yep.
Which went to overtime.
Because
Saturday was just like, this is why Saturday was just like absolutely like
one of the most stressful. Our little group chat was just like, right, who has somebody that can find out the score over there? Who has
especially having to watch it. So, right, I don't know how much this has been kind of covered and shared as well. The team didn't know until just before kickoff, when the camera operators walked away from their cameras. So, like, that's how they found out over there. Like, they had no idea. So yeah, it was the text coverage, and like, yeah, shout out to Rory, Rory on the whistle for getting it out and doing the maths for us. There's 2 things about this game that I cannot believe we missed. Like, number 1, the pick 2. Anytime there's a pick 2, I want to see it. Is he in the stands? Is he mate in the stands? I did see a video of it later on. Length of field pick 2. Thank you very much. Love to see that. And then, of course, the game that isn't on the stream goes to overtime. Like, of course it does. And then in the other kind of consolation bracket round, China versus Japan. Culturally, the 2 biggest rivals. You know, there's like everything they do in any sport, in any sphere.
Yeah.
China, Japan. Those are the 2. You know, this and China go out and they do it, and it sets up this
wild
GB China match. 2 teams that have never played each other in proper competition before. You get a match in the host to end the weekend. Japan's fall from grace is seemingly complete at this point, because, you know, yesterday we were a bit concerned about how if they're going to defend their Asian Games title. Well, now, like, they've lost to the only other Oceania team there. Brain matter just spinning.
It's nuts.
And then you have to wait overnight, see what happens, which was just...
I'm getting excited thinking about it again. The emotional toil is set back in.
So yeah, obviously wake up in the morning, Japan do what we thought they would do. They somehow pull a comfortable victory out. They take down Italy 33-0. We get to follow the text along again for a Britain 30 win against China. That's great. There's a whole bunch of world ranking points. Reasons why that's great. Basically turns the tournament into a net gain for us, which we'd love to see. And then we're treated to the bronze medal match, which Canada eventually take complete control of.
Yeah.
18-point win on the stream. And then you're like, oh, North America, all 3 medals. Well, the America's Continental Championship participants rather than North America, I guess. All three medals. And you're like, oh, damn, right. What does this mean for the world at large? And then the final.
Do you watch the final?
I think I've watched the final 3 times.
First half was defensive masterclass. It was incredible. I think America they had a pick 6. I think that was the only points they scored, I believe, in the first half.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Yeah, like both, like considering one of the leaders of the Mexican defense tore her ACL the day before and wasn't able to go on the pitch, that leaves massive questions going into the final. But yeah, watching her get lifted up onto the podium by her teammates was great to watch.
Yes.
We loved that. But that game was phenomenal. I did get to see it live, unfortunately. I had a knee issue to go and deal with. Yeah, like that game was absolutely phenomenal to watch.
Oh,
With the Americas scoring and running onto the pitch and cheering like they'd won it with, I think, it was less than 30 seconds. I can't remember
there was
exactly.
24 seconds to go on 4th down when, that post route comes free and Crouch hits it. I think, was it to Fulford? Mads Fulford, she hits it into the end zone, essentially untouched, and you're just like, and then they get the extra points. Now they're up, and you're just like, that's game. It's got to be game. Like in a tournament of games which can go down as classics within individual rivalries, go down and score that touchdown with, was it like 4 seconds left or something? And she was so
the way
open.
they scored as well, like the clatter at the front of the end zone with so you've 2 American defenders just get sucked down by someone running out to the front pylon, absolutely wipe her out, and then there's just someone standing in their own postcode just being like, yeah, I'll take that, thank you.
And the thing is, like, that's like the hardest catch to take, right? Like, completely untouched, gold medal on the line. Just
that ball must have been in the air for minutes.
Take it ahead, just at head height. Like, the whole world must have been like it was going through treacle. Yeah, in a match, in a tournament where you feel like there's rivalry defining matches between all the teams that played each other. You know, like, that final felt like a classic of the sport. Like, possibly the classic match of the sport. Like, I've never seen anything like that at the highest level with a medal on the line. Like, that's not normal.
You look at Birmingham in 22.
It was a blowout.
And nobody really expected that. That was like the first, like, it was almost Diana Flores' like rise to fame. That's where it arguably accelerated to where it is now. And then for America to recuperate, do really well in the World Championships last year, and then
win the Continentals, win the Euros. Win the Continentals, win the Worlds. Come back to this,
and wow, like for anyone that thought the rivalry was dead after the past 2 years,
because it hasn't been that close the last couple of years, right? Like,
hey, Tiger Woods on a Sunday, Diana Flores,
and this is the thing, like, right, like, what do you have to do to win a World Games? Like, that is, it's unbelievable. And I think the next World Games is scheduled for Germany, like, the year before the Olympics. Like, will it be included? Don't know.
I'm probably like
don't know.
Devil's advocate, like, they're probably not going to. Like, the World Game is for the niche things that aren't in the Olympics. There's not many crossovers there.
And also, like, with the World Championship is going to be in Düsseldorf next year as well, and all that kind of stuff. So it'll be super interesting.
I hope that it is, but I expect it not to be.
Just like, what a match! Like, what a match! It was so, like you say, first half super tense, super defensive. Second half, we started getting a bit more points, but it still felt like every pass could go there. Every pass could be coming back. Every pass could be put on the ground. Every tackle could be missed. Every play, someone had to be perfect, you know. And in the end, 4 seconds to go, most famous flag player in the world, like, hits a receiver untouched in the back of the end zone. Like, what more do you want, really, from that? And then cue just absolute pandemonium. It was just unbelievable. And even then, like,
What a way to finish the weekend.
I think we spoke about it in our little group previously. Like, Mexico, before they got on the flight, there was like a full-on press conference, like a full-on battery of journalists, and then the footage of them coming back off the aircraft, and it was like something out of Love Actually, with the amount of journalists that were at the gate at the airport when they arrived back. Like, there's just another level in it. It's just another level in that country.
It's what we want it to be.
But it's like, I don't even know that there's that many like professional teams in the UK that get that. Like, okay, like the Lionesses will, and the rugby teams will, and like England's women's netball, for example. But like
Scottish curling team.
Yeah, when Brucey comes back, mate. But you know what I mean? Like, there's just not, even at like a pro level.
Yeah. It's not celebrated.
It just doesn't. You just don't see like folk coming off the planes and stuff. Like, it was absolute bedlam, and loved watching every minute of it.
Me too, man. Me too.
Absolutely loved watching every minute of it. And we get like 2 weeks off until America. Like, the redemption arc that the USA are currently on social media is,
the sour comments are,
it's just like mind-boggling. But I mean, I guess like you maybe have to have that, right? Because it's American football, so like they feel like they have no choice. But
like the heat that they're getting from people back in America and comments on Instagram is wild, talking about how they got beat at a sport they got invented, which is an awful, awful thing to go and say to a group of girls that have just got second in the World Games.
I just don't, like, this is my thing. Like, you won a silver medal. You won a silver medal. What are we talking about? Like, there was one comment I saw that was like, oh, you shouldn't have scored with 24 seconds left.
It's fourth down.
Like, what are you talking about? It's fourth down and you've scored 16 points the entire game.
Take them when you can.
Like, what are you talking about? Like,
and even at that, even in those 16 points, 6 of them came from the defence.
And it was just like, whatever it was. Like, but
it's wild.
Like, it was some of the nonsense that was out there. I don't. And like, we've said this before, it allows the USA, and the male team get it as well, around NFL players and stuff. It allows that team, the American public, allow that team to get into a position where they feel like the world is against them, and it brings out the best in them. And it's like, they're already world number one.
Yeah. There's not.
You don't need to wind them up anymore, because like, they're already the best. Like, they're already ranked number one.
Yeah.
Like, leave us alone.
One final thing I would like to say as well is a huge thank you to, I know he's part of the team, but I would love to say thank you to Andy for, one, helping us out last week and by coming on the podcast, and two, all of his efforts for graphics, content, stuff that he's helped us produce. He is
the engine room.
I mean, absolute warrior when it comes to this. So thank you.
And happy birthday.
And that too, because I completely knew that was a thing.
It's his birthday today, as we record.
Happy birthday, bro.
It's 10:20, so by the time he hears it, it'll be tomorrow. But yeah, if you've not wished Andy Keith a happy birthday, you can go do that for yesterday. Yeah, without a doubt, the absolute engine room of what we do around major tournaments, and yeah, particularly excited for Paris in a few weeks. So yeah, watch this space. So I did make a little meme that was the Matrix with all of the computers of me trying to work out the live world rankings. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is where I believe the world rankings may look like just now. And the reason I'm saying may look like just now is because there are some things which are, to coin a word, uncalculatable. So they are uncalculatable based off of the fact that there are simply things that are not made entirely public. The way that we calculate the world rankings at any given point is that every cycle, teams are weighted based off of like their rankings through that cycle. It's hard to know where we sit in the cycle at the moment, because if the cycle is world championships to world championships, that means that we should just be in the start of a new one. Does that mean weighting points? Is it a 3-year cycle? Don't know.
Who knows?
Genuinely don't know. But the way it works basically is, if you're a brand new team, you get 1,000 points. If you're making your debut, you make 1,000 points. So China started the tournament with 1,000 points. In competition play, you get 400 points for a win, and you get 400 points taken off you if you lose. If you tie, both teams get nothing. You just stay where you are. It's a bit crude, but that's how we do it. I say we, as if we're involved at all.
Yeah,
That's how
yeah,
IFAF do it. We'll come back to that in a minute, though, because there is a quite funny story behind that. Once the year is over, all of the points that a team has made, they're then divided by the number of games played. So, for example, teams that played in the World Games will play more games by the end of the year than the teams that are just playing in their continentals this year. So to keep it kind of easy, you win all your 400 ups, 400 downs, divide by the number played, and then that is your like subtotal. From there, your own weighted rating points for that year are added to that. Again, kind of nebulous. It's based on all of last year's points, of the points from the year before, and then we think half of the points from 3 years ago, which is why we're getting into this 3-year cycle chat. Once that's done, we then add points for prize points, basically. So you get points for winning gold, silver, bronze, and 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th at the Worlds. And then at your continental games or the World Games, you get points for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, right? Just because there's less teams. And then, after all of that, we basically have ranking points. If you do not compete in your local continentals or in the Worlds that year, I'm guessing if you choose not to rather than if you don't qualify, then you're docked 400 points so that you don't hold this like artificially inflated ranking. So an example of that would have been Thailand. They won their continental championships, but they would have been docked 400 points for not attending the Worlds the year later in Lati. So in order to try and give us a bit of a flavour, because I was interested to see, does that mean we have a new world number one? So went through the 6 games that all the teams played, gave them 400 for a win and gave them 400 for a loss. After that, I divided that 400 wins, 400 loss subtotal, divided that by 6, added it to the points that they won, the points that were shared in the 2024 rankings, and then added prize points to get our new rankings total. So the way that things are at the moment is USA are still, in my head, in my spreadsheet, the world number one, but the gap is closed to inside 400 points with Mexico in second place, which in my head means that should Mexico and the USA meet in the final of the America's Continental Championships, the end of year world number one will be on the line, which is just an additional bit of spice to add in. If Mexico can do the World Games America's Cup double, they should be the world number one at the end of the year. And if they're not by ranking points, I think they will be in everyone's head. In third place, despite a rough tournament, Japan have held on. They have lost ranking points. However, there was such a gulf between the top 3 and the next grouping that they've held on. The big movers, the big winners from the tournament are Canada. They've gone from 6 to 4, and they've leapfrogged GB. GB have held in 5th, and Austria have moved from 4 to 6. What's mental about that is 6th in the world, Austria, in my maths, are on 6,645 ranking points. 4th in the world, Canada, are on 6,758.
Wow.
So it is, again, less than a match between them. GB sandwiched in the middle, 6,677. So yeah, that's like 100 points behind the Canadians. A strong Euros could work wonders for them for Britain moving their way back up those rankings. Rough for Italy. 6 games, 6 losses, no prize points. Obviously drops them 400 points down. So they were in 10th. I've now got them pegged in 13th, which puts them now behind France, Australia, and Brazil. So as I said, it's kind of guesswork at the moment, but it's informed guesswork. Informed using maths. And China, I have ranked at 33rd in the world, behind Ukraine, the Philippines, and India. However, given what we saw, I do feel like if they were to play a 4-team round robin with those teams, I think they would probably win those games.
You're quite excellent.
So
yeah.
I think that's artificially low for China, just by virtue of entering the strongest tournament we've ever seen. So yeah, all to play for over the next year. Yeah. A decent, over the next couple of months. A decent amount of drama for us to keep an eye on. I'm psyched.
Once I emotionally and physically recover from this, I will be too. My sleep schedule is still
Yeah. I think I woke up for a couple of mornings, like Monday, Tuesday this week. I was up pretty early.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's kind of where we're at with the World Games.
Well, that's the way that we HNC
That's
it.
the way we HNC it. I'm sure many others will see it in a slightly different way. But yeah, of all the teams, Canada are the big winners of the World Games in terms, at least in terms of ranking points. The only team to have kind of have moved up. So yeah, flowers to Canada. Flowers to Canada. But yeah, obviously we want to hear from you guys. What did you guys think of the World Games? Let us know in the comments wherever you are, where you watched from around the world. We do love hearing from you. And the Friends of the Show channel will go quiet now until Euros. We're not going to use it to spam you with anything. But yeah, at the Euros, we'll be back. Game threads, updates, chats. You can make your predictions for who's going to be European champion, America's Games champion. Obviously, we've already got our Africa flag champions in Nigeria. We'll see them at the World Championships next year. And then, yeah, we'll be heading back to China later in the year for the now incredibly enthralling Asian Championships.
Gonna be spicy.
It's going to be very interesting.
And just on top of that as well, as Bez alluded to a couple of weeks ago, we are a community platform and we would like you guys to be as involved as you want to be. So if anybody has any suggestions for us for what we could do different for the World Games or any ideas for the channel that we've got set up, we would love to hear them. If anybody wants to be involved, I'm sure we can try and help out in one way or another. Yeah. Thank you all so much for everyone's involvement, interactions, keeping us going through the late nights and early mornings. But yeah, we're excited to do it all again in a couple of weeks.
We are indeed. And we'll be back very soon with conversations from people who were actually there. And of course, the build up to the BAFA Flag, National Flag Football League finals coming very, very soon. It's just over, where are we at? 1, 2, 3 weeks away. Saturday the 13th, a new national champion will be crowned, or maybe we'll crown a defending champion.
Maybe we will.
Maybe we will. I'm sure you'll have something to say about that when we get to our preview show, Cammy.
No, me opinionated about the Hornets, never.
So yes, thank you everyone for listening. It's been a great pleasure having you with us. It is goodbye from Cammy.
Goodbye.
And it's goodbye from me. Thank you very much for listening. That is the way we HNC it.